Kevin J. Johnston here, freedomreport.ca. I have Mike Phillip, once again, from Americanuckradio.com, who's contacted me via Skype because he has something he would like to discuss. Mike, how is everything, and what do you want to talk about?
Everything is great, and I would like to discuss words and what they mean, or your perception of them. Karl Rove is once famous for saying perception is reality. So if your perception can be altered or changed when certain words are spoken, you're going to be triggered. I'd like to make an example here, okay?
Yeah.
So if you are living in London, England, or a man living in New York City, and you go to your doctor and he says, "What did you do all week last week?" And you say, "I was downtown bumming fags." The doctor in London, England is going to send you for a lung cancer test, and the doctor in America or Canada is going to send you for an AIDS test. Words matter.
They do
and our
matter.
Perception of them.
They do.
And so we're talking about this association between right-wing or conservative and racism, Hitler, fascist. If you and I'm watching politicians ever since this Charlottesville incident in Virginia. Now, because that happened in Virginia, okay, you had Antifa fighting with Nazis or white supremacists, whether they were or weren't, I don't know. That whole thing kind of stinks to high heaven to me. It looks like a setup, but
it was a setup. Ben Shapiro's already covered this.
Being said,
so did Stefan Melville covered it very well about the fact that the mayor is he's very pro sanctuary city, and he told his cops to back off, and this is what happened because the mayor.
Stefan Molyneux's a Nazi too, by the way.
Is he really?
That's what I heard. Yeah. So he's good at what he does, though.
He's great at what he does.
But here's the thing, okay? And this has kind of been a running theme where you have to confess your allegiance to political correctness because there was some fighting and a few people killed in Virginia. Politicians in Alberta, in Ontario, in a different country, and in separate provinces, separated by thousands of miles, are having to be the first to jump on the bandwagon and disassociate themselves with fascism. Okay? You've got Brian Lilley just walked away from the Rebel. Okay? Over this. Because of the negative connotations and him losing his other job. People are going out of their way. Now let me pose you a question.
Yeah.
How many people died in Chicago last weekend?
No one knows.
That's not an emergency. Okay? Chicago has more murders than Afghanistan on any given weekend. But that's not a big deal. A couple people die in Charlottesville, Virginia. Everybody's losing their minds because it's Nazis. Well, I'll tell you what. Murder's murder. Whether it was done by a fascist, whether it was done by a socialist, whether it was done by just a straight-up murderer who just wanted $5 out of your wallet to go get a rock to smoke, it's just murder. And that's why words matter. Now, they have taken and hijacked the narrative. And when people go out of their way to go along with that narrative, where I'm not a Nazi, I'm not a Nazi, when I've never in my life had to convince somebody that I was not a Nazi because I'm not one. But when you start to apologize profusely and try to convince the other side that you are not a Nazi, you're being roped into their fight. End of story. Your thoughts, Kevin?
Correct. You're correct. And it's all being done through the use of words. Regrettably, what's happened here is we've given a lot of power to a few select words that were pretty much ignored, like racist, Islamophobe, fascist, and Nazi. All these words have brand new meanings, but the problem is they're blanket statements for everything. People will use these words if you do something as small as simply disagree with them.
Yes.
Or if you beat somebody to the lineup at the express desk at the grocery store, yeah, you Nazi. They have no idea what that means. That's the problem. So you are correct. Listen, I get nailed all the time on this stuff. People call me Nazi, Islamophobe, racist, xenophobe, all kinds of stuff.
Dude, I've been called a racist because I wear a cowboy hat.
Of course. But the thing is, though, it's only those 4 or 5 words. They're never clever enough to say, you're Pol Pot, you're Mao Zedong, you are Stalin, you are Xerxes, you are Caligula. Yeah. Those are insults. But no one knows enough about world history, nor do they care enough about world history to look into real insults they could use. So these words do have power, and the very fact that you would say, no, I'm not a Nazi, I'm not a racist, my third cousin's best friend's uncle's roommate is black, come on. Don't justify yourself at all. Never justify yourself.
No, because you're getting into their stupid bullshit argument that doesn't even hold water.
Yes.
You're giving it weight by giving it time of day and words coming out of your mouth when you could be doing something constructive.
Right.
Like building your country.
There you go. Or you maybe go to the gym, read a book. Hey, cut your grass. That's useful. Cut your grass. Dig a hole in your backyard.
Which will be legal in Canada soon, by the way.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm getting rid of grass. I'm going to interlocking stone for my entire property. I've had enough of cutting grass. But regardless, I don't want to digress on any subject matter here. What I want to say is, yes, words do have a ton of meaning. And in England, I can call you a faggot and not have people say, well, you're a gayophobe and you're an LGBTQ, HMXY, whatever, hater, or you are a transphobe. Like that's even a word or a thing. I could call you a faggot in England and mean one of two things. You're a cigarette or you are a plate of potatoes and capers.
Or a bundle of sticks.
Or a bundle of sticks. Yes, I did a comedy routine about that. I probably will do that comedy routine again so people can understand how weak and powerful simultaneously words can be. But the idea is that words are something that you cannot attribute a single emotion to. And everyone has done that with a key 5 to a dozen words. And it's affected their lives. Yeah.
And people that do get emotional over this stuff, when you see your average feminist or, that ilk, a lot of times they're overweight and they've got blue hair and a bunch of nose rings. I look at somebody like that and I think to myself, this is an individual who can never be satisfied with anything. They're physically incapable of being satisfied. So what they do is they project that on the world around them and say, my situation is bad because everybody around me is using the wrong words and that's hurting my feelings. And that's why I'm in a perpetual state of not being able to be satisfied no matter how much I eat, no matter how much I protest, no matter how much I scream down with the system, when in fact, you're overweight because you're dying and your hormones are all screwed up.
Yes.
So get yourself in order and then worry about what everybody else is saying. And here's another thing. Mind your own damn business. What's wrong with that? Mind your own damn business instead of getting in people's face and trying to tell them what they can and can't say and trying to model the world around your feelings. Your feelings don't matter, okay? They don't. Seriously. We're all going to die someday, and you're going to turn into dust, and your feelings will have never mattered.
Oh, better yet, you have to word it properly. You're going to die one day, and your sphincter and bladder are going to go, "Ugh," and you're going to end up being a corpse with feces in your clothing. That's what's destined for all of us. So enjoy what you've got, because you're going to turn into something very ugly, gross, and dirty upon death. And the idea would be, while you're alive, don't be something that's disgustingly dirty, gross, and unserene. You need to make sure that if you're a big fat pig, that you need to lose weight. If you're someone who dines on potato chips and washes it down with beer every day, you're affecting your own capacity to think. So you will go into a depression because you're denying your body and mind of everything that it needs. Yeah. Mike, you and I talked about this before, that a very dear friend of mine, utilizing words, looked at me one day and says, Jesus, man, you're a fat freaking slob. Actually, it was a whole bunch of creative language. You're a fat slob is what he was saying. You're going to die if you keep eating, you pig. And it worked. I said, you're right. You're right. I lost 70 pounds and then went to the gym and put about 25 pounds of muscle on my frame and changed my entire diet and approach to life. My blood counts are perfect. I can think. I can concentrate. I can smile every day. And I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I'm better than the entire populace. That's not the point here. The point is I contribute more to our society because I have the wherewithal to think, identify what's wrong, and the energy to fix it. And, of course, the desire to fix it. I like seeing people smile.
Well, and that's the other thing. Here's what you have to think to yourself, too. If somebody says something like that to you and it hurts, it's probably because it's true. So you have a choice at that point. You can either improve yourself or you can retire to the basement and watch The Young and the Restless with a bucket of chocolate ice cream, and it's only going to get worse. So take those little moments where your gut goes, because somebody said something to you because it hit too close to home, and maybe think to yourself, you know what? They're right. I'm a fatty fat. And I'm one of those guys that I can eat no matter what, and I will always be 180 pounds. I've got the build of a Navy SEAL, okay? So, I mean, I've got that kind of metabolism. But, I mean, we all have our problems, right? So,
yeah, we have our problems, but it wouldn't mean, hold on, though. I'm familiar with your particular type of body frame. You can eat everything you want, but it doesn't mean your mind is going to work properly if you cram all that crap down your throat that I talked about earlier.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
You're what? You're 44 now, right?
42.
42. Okay, close. I was close. So you, like me, need to consider everything that you put in your craw before you do so. Yes. You got to think about your diet, not just today, but for the next year. Because we do have to consider the fact that this is the age where prostate cancer kicks in, throat cancer kicks in, where liver cancer and cirrhosis kicks in. Skin cancer begins to kick in with unhealthy lifestyle. We need to consider that stuff. Your lifespan and my lifespan are more than half over. And for anyone to point that out utilizing creative words and language, they're absolutely correct. And I can't believe people get depressed when they find when someone points out what age they are.
Yeah. It's I mean, Bryan Adams wrote that song 18 Until I Die. And he's looking pretty haggard these days, you know what I mean? And there's such a thing as growing old gracefully. When you see these old ladies that are in their 80s and their hair is purple and they got too much makeup on, you look like a freak. Listen, if you get old and try to look like you're 16 again, you're not going to look like you're 16. You're going to look like a freak.
Yes,
okay?
yes, you are.
That's just all there is to it. So, I mean,
by the way, that goes double for women who are 35 and up who color their hair weird colors. Blue, purple, and off green are the three big ones right now in the Toronto area.
Yeah.
It's just, you look like an idiot. You look like an ass.
Yeah, you look like
fool.
a clown.
Especially
like
especially if you've got a daughter who does not have a similar colored hairdo, who looks normal. You look like a moron.
Have you seen, I was at West Edmonton Mall, biggest mall in North America.
Formerly the biggest in the world, yeah.
Formerly, yeah, up yours, Minnesota. And so there was a trend a little while back where mothers and daughters, you'd see them, let me know if you've seen this in Ontario, where they would dress identically slutty, where the daughter was like 13 years old and the mom was, 35 and they were, or 45 and they're both wearing a shirt that says cum dumpster.
Or, oh my God.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my God.
Or like there was the one with the Nike swoosh and it said, just do me underneath it. And you would have moms and daughters dressing and doing their hair and makeup identically over the line slutty. I saw that. You haven't seen that?
I've never seen mother and daughter parading through a mall, but here's the difference between myself and everybody else. I'll do anything to avoid going to a mall. I think the last time I was in a mall was 15 years ago. I can't stand them. So I wouldn't see that there. But I assume, based on the size of West Edmonton Mall and based on the size of Square One in Mississauga here, that kind of thing is rampant. Maybe I should go to the mall and have a look around. I'll go on a Saturday afternoon and see what type of slutwear there is. That frightens me. And
let me tell you something else about West Edmonton Mall, okay? You know how Target in the United States, they had this big brouhaha over anybody can use any washroom?
Yeah, big mistake, right? To say something like that.
Yeah. So the last time, and I'm telling you the last time, I was at West Edmonton Mall. There's an entrance by the Ice Palace. There's a big ice rink where the Edmonton Oilers practice, and they have public skating. And there was a public washroom right by that entrance. And so my wife and I walk in, and I'm like, give me a second, baby. I'll be right back. I go in. I walk in the bathroom, and there's all these women standing there looking at me. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I got embarrassed, hey? And I walked back out, and I looked, and there was only one door. They spent money to wall off the bathroom. There used to be, in that exact same spot, a men's room and a women's room, and they spent extra money to wall off the other bathroom and replumb it just for a unisex bathroom. And they didn't make a big deal out of it. It wasn't in the media. I never heard of this happening. And so when I went outside and I looked, and I was like, wow, this I had no idea. And outside, this is the kicker. There's a garbage can, and on it is a plaque that says, report abuse of any kind, outside of the brand new unisex bathroom. So they're looking and reminding people not to transgress the new Canadian misidentify somebody's gender law.
Okay, now let me cover that. Let me tell you exactly what's wrong here.
Go ahead.
First off, this country, we no longer have a sense of shame. People are more than happy to go to the mall, to Walmart, to restaurants wearing their friggin' pajamas. All right? That never happened in the past. And I mean never happened in the past. So the sense of shame would also be this. Women don't want men hearing them pee, hearing them fart, and hearing them crap and expel diarrhea. Women do not want men hearing that. Yet here we are. Progressive thinking would be to have women and men crapping beside each other now in a unisex bathroom, because somehow it's wrong to point out that we should separate the genders in the bathroom and we should have a sense of shame. West Edmonton Mall can kiss my ass if that's what they're going to do. That is ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. It should be illegal, is what it should be. Forget this unisex crap.
Look at what happened with Target when they put that policy forward. Their sales plummeted. In fact, there was a Target store in West Edmonton Mall that closed down. I think they closed down a huge number of their Canadian locations because everybody walked away, because the majority of the public are not cool with that. It's just this very small minority that are trying to push it on everybody else. And I got to tell you, my family in the United States, I'm an American and I'm a Canadian. My dad's from Chicago. My mother is from a little town called Farintosh, Alberta. And the majority of my family in the United States are harsh Democrats. I got in an argument with one of my cousins over this on Facebook. I'm embarrassed to say. But she was going off on how the Constitution and Bill of Rights in the United States of America guarantees the right for a man to piss in the ladies' room. And I'm like, are you serious? I said, if the founding fathers, okay, if you brought this to James Madison, it'd have been pistols at dawn, okay? You'd have been dueling in the street, that was never on their mind.
Mike, you and I could both guarantee that the word piss, urine, feces, and washroom are not in the U.S. Constitution.
I guarantee it. I am not a constitutional professor or scholar, but I guarantee you the founding fathers never intended the right for a man to use the ladies' room. I guarantee it was not on their mind.
Oh, and by the way, guys, it's not your right, just so you know. And women, it's not your right to go in the men's room. And quite frankly, you know what? When I'm in the John taking a piss and, wash the hands up and flick the water off, adjust a few things and tug it all up, I don't want to listen to women talking in the bathroom. Look, I'm married with a daughter. I already have to listen to two women when I'm utilizing the kitchen sink or the washrooms upstairs or downstairs or anywhere else. I already have that. I don't want it in the public bathroom as well. It's enough with two. I can't imagine being in a unisex bathroom in the biggest mall in North America listening to 15 women piss, crap, and giggle while I'm trying to pull my pants up. Not interested.
Let me go you a step further. I learned something when in my teen years. One of the first jobs I had in the summer, I worked night maintenance at a McDonald's restaurant. Okay, so you came in and you cleaned the place up, got everything ready for the morning. Shit job, terrible job. I don't recommend that to anybody. But I always assumed that women were cleaner than men.
Yeah, well.
Was I ever wrong? Boy, when I had to clean those two bathrooms, the men's room and the women's room, the women's room was disgusting. I was so grossed out. And actually, that's what led to me quitting that job, by the way. I'm talking bloody tampons. And sorry if I'm disgusting anybody here, but this is what I saw. In the garbage can or beside it on the floor. Toilet paper with stuff on it beside the toilet. I did not see that in the men's room, and I don't know why. I guess you could say that people that are eating regularly at McDonald's are going to leave behind a more disgusting bathroom no matter where they go. But that was my experience. That's what I saw. The women's room was always 10 times more disgusting than the men's room. And so for that reason alone, I want my own bathroom.
Yeah. I used to clean bathrooms. Some of my first jobs were that. I remember when Michaels of Canada, that stupid art store, opened up. I was part of the group that built the first 4 stores in Ontario. And the women's bathrooms, even just during the construction process, were absolutely vile. Now, I get it. A lot of women will squat and pee backwards, but don't squat, ladies. Why don't you put some toilet paper on the seat and have a seat and pee in the bowl? My mother, when she taught my brother and I how to pee, would always say, pee in the bowl, pee in the bowl, in the bowl. And she was clever enough to get a piece of toilet paper and draw circles on it saying, pee on the circle, which is in the bowl.
Right.
Don't pee on the seat.
Go for the bug, right?
Yeah,
or,
for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. One day I pissed on the seat as a kid. My father sat in it. When he was going to take a dump, he walks right out with his pants down. Boom! He didn't ask if it was me or my brother. We both got it right in the face. A big open hand. Boom! Don't you piss on my seat again. And believe me, I think it was probably 20 years before I pissed with the seat down ever again. That's how it's supposed to be. So, ladies, understand. It is nasty when there's piss on the seat because it does stink and it does stain. And I know that some doctors say that urine is sterile when it comes out, but it's sitting on top of the seat and now it's collecting bacteria, skin flakes, and other particulates from the air, and it will eventually be a bacteria-ridden smell fest. Stop it. Don't pee on the seat, ladies. Please.
I can't believe where this conversation went.
Well, words. Piss. But here, I think we should go back to what you originally had discussed about words having different meanings everywhere. I'd like you all out there to factor in that when you want to issue an insult to a good-looking guy like this and a clever guy like this, don't use Nazi, don't use Islamophobe, don't use racist. Those words mean nothing.
No, they don't mean anything to me either.
Through the overuse of those words, they mean nothing. And you're actually swinging the pendulum back to the right where it belongs a little more rapidly than even you think you're doing. And this is exactly opposite what you want, by the way. But the crazier you get with the overuse of a few select words, the less power those words will have a year from now.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, this race to find something or to be the discoverer of something racist, people used to want to discover a new disease or discover a new comet and have their name attached to it. Now people are in this big race to put out some new dissertation on how using Kleenex to blow your snot is cultural appropriation, or something brand new that nobody ever thought of before is racist. I'll tell you what, it's holding less and less meaning the more you do it, and you're just sounding like a moron, quite frankly. And you're actually, racism is a bad thing, okay? It is a bad thing. I've never found it classy. I've never been cool with it. I've never ran around using words excessively. That's just not how I was. The more you talk about it and try to work it into everything, like diversity is strength in football and shit like that, the less meaning that it has. You're actually damaging your own cause in trying to bring attention to how bad racism is when you water down its meaning. You're taking away from the whole thing. You're wrecking it.
Yeah, you are. You are correct. It's what it is. It's taken the word racism, which is something that we should all pay attention to, and it's degraded it to the point where it means nothing. And you may or may not have heard the whole thing where Janet McDougald, who is the head of the board of directors for the Peel District School Board, which is 1.3 million people that she represents with education, instead of allowing me to ask one question that she could have deflected with clever language and clever words, she says, "We will not be entertaining you tonight. I find what you say about me offensive. You are a racist." And as soon as she says that, what she's now done is taken all the real meaning from the word and said, and internalized it. Now it's Janet McDougald's word. And the entire audience, who was brown at the time, the very, very, very Hindu audience, were yelling at her and saying, Kevin is not a racist. How dare you say this? Kevin spends a lot of money at Indian food restaurants, and Kevin loves going to the local gurdwaras and the local temples. Kevin is part of what Canada really is. It backfired on her. It absolutely and it's backfiring also because I still have not yet filed my lawsuit, but believe me, I will. And I'll be serving it obnoxiously at her home. And she's going to have to face the music at some point that you can't just call somebody a racist who is got a different opinion than yours.
No, it's just it. It takes all the meaning out of it and totally waters it down. And you're just killing your own movement the more you pull this crap because, go ahead and call me a racist. I'm just going to say, whatever.
Hey, you're a racist. Dallas Cowboys thing. What happens to people that take too much colloidal silver and end up with blue skin? You're mocking them with your blue shirt.
Let me just really quickly address that. I know a lot of people around here that make their own colloidal silver, even at like 1,000 parts per million. And not one of them look like Papa Smurf, okay? Yeah, I'm serious. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever.
Yes, well, hey, people say it.
They do. But they'll take any damn drug with a black box warning on it that the doctor hands them. We're getting off topic. Words, they do hold meaning. They hold power. They can paint pictures in your head and shape your perception of the world around you. And you've got to closely guard your own mind and not be pressured into jumping on bandwagons on the meaning of words. I will not let that control me. If you are a black man and you're an asshole, then you're just an asshole. Yep. If you're a white man and you're an asshole, guess what you are? You're just an asshole. Your race has nothing to do with it. And if you want to bring religion into it, the Bible says that no flesh shall glory in his presence. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. So all you people wanting to say Jesus was actually black, so we're the master race, or the Nubian kingdom, we were kings, or the Greeks used to own the earth, or no. Forget about all that. Concentrate on who you are today and how you deal with others around you. And let's build a cohesive society and forget about all that bullshit.
Yes.
Right?
You know what? Let's just start being honest. Let's call everything what it is. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. I'm not hijacking the word terrorist. They are a domestic terrorist organization. Antifa, they want to be clever with their phraseology. They're anti-fascist. They are fascists. They are sneaky, conniving criminals, and they are domestic terrorists. And anybody that wants to back that up, believing that that's the correct narrative, you're just helping terrorists destroy your own nation. Forget it. The word of the day is domestic terrorist. And you have to begin looking at people, even like our prime minister, jihadi Justin Trudeau, who decides to wear Islamic socks at a gay pride day and show them off. What is he doing? He's a terrorist. He is a political terrorist. He is destroying everybody's wherewithal to make a living, first off.
The sock model in chief, yeah.
Yeah. But he's also destroying any cohesiveness our society had back when his idiot father was in charge of the land. He has destroyed it all. He just picked up where his dad left off.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's the continuance of an agenda, and too many conservatives cow down to it. Too many of them are actually on it and are fakes and are there as plants to try and destroy any kind of cohesiveness in our country. And I think those are the worst ones. To be quite honest with you, Kevin, listen, Rachel Notley is the most honest politician we've ever had. She's doing what she said she was going to do. So if you voted in the NDP because you were mad at the fake conservatives, you have no right to be pissed off at her because she's doing exactly what she said she was going to.
Yes, but when she said what she was going to do, none of Albertans, I guess nobody with a brain anyway, or without a brain, looked at what she was really saying. I am going to destroy Alberta because I have some odd sense of guilt that I feel for living a comfortable life. I am going to punish oil workers. I'm going to punish woodworkers. I'm going to punish every single human being in this province by spewing fake rhetoric about the planet warming up.
Yep, but they voted for her.
Yep.
Good job, guys. I mean, and back to my point, I think that John McCain is worse than Maxine Waters or Dianne Feinstein or Nancy Pelosi. I think these fake conservatives, quite honestly, are more destructive. Look at the situation in the United States. You've got House of Representatives, Congress, the presidency, all in the GOP camp, firmly under control of the GOP, and nothing can get done. Why? Because they're a bunch of fakes. They're down with the agenda. It's that simple. They are society wreckers. So the traitor inside the gate is worse than the enemy outside the gate. Marcus Aurelius.
And I couldn't agree more.
Amen.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, Mike, so we're at time. What's your last word for the day? Word. What's your last word?
For the day is don't get butthurt over words.
Word. Very, very eloquent. Hey, everybody, that is Mike Phillip from Americanuckradio.com. You have to listen to his syndicated Saturday show. Mike, what time of the day is that on Saturdays?
We are on 2 to 4 Central Standard Time. Do the math, whatever region you're in. And we are on right after former presidential advisor Roger Stone on the Genesis Communications Network, home of great radio. And incidentally, one of the last large networks that's still in the black and not too big to fail.
Fantastic. And Alex Jones is part of that network. Is that correct?
Alex is syndicated by GCN. I was talking to the owner of the network, and he was telling me about when Alex was a nobody and came to him wanting a show. And getting Alex to sign those syndication papers was the best thing that GCN ever did.
Yeah, it's worked out for all of us, though. We're all better for the GCN network, and my life is certainly better for having met you. So, Mike, thank you very much for joining us today. Once again, Mike Phillip from Americanuckradio.com, and I, of course, am the fabulous and handsome Kevin J. Johnston, freedomreport.ca.